guys, welcome to another episode of the Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. I'm Nick.
I'm Ian.
Today we're talking about Nirvana and really kind of what made Nirvana special. There's a bunch of links down below. Make sure you check them out. There's links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, for the merch page, for the Spotify and Apple Music playlist we put together every week, and the Patreon page. Make sure you go check all that out. Of course, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you see a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time we release new episodes. So I think we can all pretty much agree that Nirvana was a great band. They released a bunch of great music. They were the big, like the first big grunge band to break into the mainstream. Of course, with Nevermind. Their second album, Bleach, sold pretty well, but it was nowhere close to what they were selling with Nevermind. But really kind of what made Nirvana that one special band, that first band out there, the one band through the door to kind of open the door up for everyone else to come through behind them. Because a lot of people look at grunge music as kind of the nail in the coffin for hair metal. And in a lot of ways, I mean, it kind of was. But if you look back at that time period, like, there were other bands that I think were making just as good music as Nirvana. Figure like, Soundgarden. 10 actually came out, just a month or two before Nevermind did. Mm-hmm. But it was Nirvana with Nevermind that kind of opened the door up
for grunge. Yeah, I to the point about the hair metal stuff, I think hair metal killed itself, to be completely honest.
Yeah,
when you had, Poison doing songs like Unskinny Bop,
it became a comic, like a caricature of itself.
Yeah, and I don't think it necessarily had to, because Guns N' Roses didn't fall into that category. Yeah. I mean, they're technically a hair band in a sense. But
I don't think anyone really ever
they are lumped together with that. But musically speaking, they weren't doing Unskinny Bop.
Yeah,
let's face it. But I think the timing was right for something. Why it was Nirvana, I don't know. Because for all intents and purposes, it should have been somebody else.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's some other...
Yeah, Mudhoney was doing good stuff. Soundgarden was doing good stuff. Temple of Dog, the Temple of Dog album came out in 91. Mm-hmm. So you had, so many other bands that were doing other things. But I think, looking back on Nirvana's music, especially with Nevermind, there was like this more, I think, melodic kind of tone to that album that maybe was a little more accessible to the mainstream. Maybe that kind of had a little bit to play.
Well, I think Smells Like Teen Spirit was accessible.
Yeah.
And whether or not that was intentionally done to be accessible, and I mean, for whatever, it worked, I don't know. It's one of those weird things that you in hindsight, you can say, well, it just is. It made sense.
That's how it happened, yeah.
But if you try to break it down, it almost shouldn't have. In my opinion, it shouldn't have. But it shouldn't have been Nirvana. Yeah. Nirvana should have been the next band, or the third band that came out that was in that classification.
Yeah. Just
based on musicianship and all that, but maybe that's it too. Grunge isn't about musicianship.
It's about emotion.
Emotion,
and that's why grunge gets a lot of their sound, from punk, and that's what punk is. Punk is a lot of emotion.
It's anger.
Yeah.
Anger being angst and anger, yeah. And, for Kurt Cobain, I think appeals to people because everybody can see a little bit of themselves in him.
Yeah.
He did not have a great life. He did not have a great wife. Not to rhyme.
Yeah. I'm a poet. I don't even know it.
Indeed. I think a lot of teenagers, especially at that time, could relate to what he was saying, because he was saying what he went through and whatever all teenagers are going through. Whereas maybe some of the other grunge was a little bit more maybe socially driven or angrier. I don't know. But I think Kurt Cobain's lyrics tapped into people better. And take the music aside, it's lyrically, Kurt Cobain was kind of a voice for a generation.
That moment in time. Yeah, I think the point you made with Kurt Cobain, I think it's a great one to kind of look at, because there was a different charisma that Kurt Cobain had. And I think people could relate to him because he seemed genuine. In especially the late 80s, early 90s, when everything just felt fake. He was like the one person in rock music in particular that felt like a real person. Like his stuff, his music, like I said, it's relatable. People connected to it. That doesn't necessarily mean that Chris Cornell is somebody that isn't. It just. I think Kurt Cobain was like I said, just happened to be the first person through the door that people kind of really latched onto.
Right. And to be fair, I think he was genuine all the way through.
Yes.
Because he never let I never got the impression he let the fame get to him. We don't know. Didn't know him personally, but whereas you see a lot of other artists, you can see the fame getting to them, taking over to a degree. You never saw that with Kurt.
Yeah.
And if the stories are true about him, why he unalived himself, he didn't like the fame anyway.
Yeah.
That was part of his problem.
I think if you look at Nevermind and compare it to, a lot of the other grunge albums from the early part of the 90s, there was this like rawness and emotion that really kind of came through it that I don't think is necessarily there on some of those other albums. Mm-hmm. I think it's another reason why that album kind of blew up the way it did. And also, Nirvana's live performances are the thing of legends. I never saw them live. I have talked to people that did see it and said that it was a one of a kind performance every single time from Nirvana. So I think that was another thing that really kind of made them popular because of, obviously through the album, but through their live shows, the reputation their live shows got. And also around that same time, MTV was really getting big into showing concerts on TV. Right. There's a couple of Nirvana shows or concerts that they showed that were, became iconic over the years.
I don't remember seeing any other than Unplugged. And I mean,
no, there's definitely other ones on there.
I think Unplugged is an indication of what possibly the future Nirvana could have been.
Yeah, because I think with their Unplugged performance, it showed, that they were better musicians than I think a lot of people gave them credit for.
Or at least progressing as musicians.
Yes.
Becoming better musicians than people gave them credit for.
Yeah.
And it's sad because I really think that as we were talking and I brought up the lyricism, I think Kurt Cobain was probably potentially the Dylan of our era, of our generation. And maybe it's a good thing. I mean, it's never a good thing, but for that flame to have burned out faster because, Dylan is not Dylan anymore, and he was only Dylan for
a short period
of time. So who knows? But maybe that's what it is. If I had to pick one thing, I'd say that's probably what it is for us. He was our generation's Dylan, and it just happened to work out that they were the first ones, and that's how he became that.
Yeah, and that's kind of funny looking back on grunge music because I kind of look at grunge, at least in the mainstream, with grunge, the emergence of grunge with Nevermind, and then the death of grunge with his death.
Yeah, and again, it's like,
and obviously
so many different
grunge bands were still making music after his death.
Of course.
It really, I think music changed in the mainstream after he died, and his death I don't think really had anything to do with music changing, but it just happened to coincide with that musical shift that was going on.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. But you're right. I didn't even think of that. It's like grunge lasted from 1991 to 1994,
basically,
and that's
at least in the mainstream.
And even, I mean, In Utero, the last Nirvana album, I wouldn't even say that's as much as a grunge album as Nevermind is. No.
There's definitely, you look at from through across their career, there's definitely progression in their music. Well, that's all we got for you guys. Thanks for checking the show out. Make sure you drop us a comment down below to let us know what you guys think. What do you think was the big driving force that made Nirvana as big as they were? Why were they the first band to really break through that glass ceiling, I guess, and open the door up for so many other great bands? But I don't know, because I think kind of thinking on it, just kind of rolling all these off the top of the head, I probably could have come up with even more than that. What made them such a like cultural phenomenon that they were? But I don't know. Let us know what you guys think. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure to see a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. That's all we got. Until next time.
Talk to y'all later.
Keep on spinning. Peace.